Alrighty, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Wide Eye Sports Podcast. We got a full crew for you today and a jam-packed episode. We got Dalt, we got Riley, we got Spoon. Everybody's here. Everybody's ready to rock. We're going to talk JJ and him getting the most money of any non-quarterback ever. We're going to talk the Bears and them getting hard knocks. And what does that mean for their season this year? And then we're also going to talk Dallas has some issues. The Dallas Cowboys have some issues, and we're going to talk all about them coming up next on the Wide Eye Sports Podcast. Alrighty, guys. As you can see, I'm rocking the JJ jersey. JJ has got paid. Pay that man. I was all in on it, and he got the Brinks truck backed up. $140 million, $110 million guaranteed. Yeah, it was a lot. I'm all in on it. What are you guys' thoughts? Dalt, just start with you.
I mean, nobody expected him to not get paid. You know what I mean? Like, if he didn't get paid, it's like, what are we doing? You know, yeah. He's the arguably, top three. You can easily put him top three receivers, and then
top three receivers. He's number one. He is the number one receiver.
Okay.
Listen, I know that we both hate talking shit on Brenner, but he is number one. I'll give him that.
Hold on. I would like to say
actually no. We love talking shit on Brenner.
Okay,
he is number one.
We're gonna talk more wide receivers later. I would just like to say that I had CeeDee Lamb as the wide receiver 1 in their class. When I watched all the film and broke them all down, I said this before, I had CeeDee Lamb as wide receiver 1. I love CeeDee's game. I love who he is. He has panned out exactly how I thought he would. JJ's the man. Riley, did you expect anything different than what happened?
No, but I do think big picture that I am shocked we have not hit a wall yet, because it seems like every day some position is signing a record-breaking deal at that position.
Speaking of today, that's funny.
The salary cap isn't growing to match these record-breaking contracts. So
yeah, it is growing. It's growing way more than people think.
But not at $60 million quarterbacks, $35 million wide receivers, $25 million running backs.
I agree.
It will eventually. We are going to start seeing good teams get broken up because of this, I think.
We'll talk more about that later. That's part of the
Cowboys are a prime
situation.
example of it happening now, and I think it will be more prevalent as the league continues.
How does it? I just want to ask Jerry Jones. How does it feel knowing you have to pay these three dudes? And
hold on. We're getting way ahead of ourselves, Dalton. We're going to talk all about that later.
You're getting me started.
Back to Justin Jefferson. I just want to say that I did call it in our group chat. Yeah. I said Justin Jefferson is at least making $35 million a year.
I said he should have asked for 40.
And that's his average salary. It's $35 million a year. Called it, hit it right on the head.
Nailed
it. After seeing how much like the other wide receivers are making, I feel like 35 was the perfect spot for him to make.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it at all. And I said that, I would, if I was JJ, I sat down at the table. I'm saying I want $40 million a year. He wanted more guarantees. So I think with the high amount of guarantees, he had to come down in the overall number. And, they hammered out the details. But right. I would like to move on from JJ specifically to a little trend I happened to notice this past week when I was looking up prior. Like we were just talking, JJ is the number 1 receiver in the NFL. Right, like he's wide receiver 1. Yeah. Tyreek is a close 1B, but after that, it's Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, those guys. I would like
Devontae Adams.
He's a little past his prime for that. He's a little past his prime.
I'm still putting him up there.
He's top 5-ish for sure.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's out of the top 10.
Give him a call out. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. So I went all the way back to 1974. And I looked at who was the de facto wide receiver 1 in the league during time periods. So stretches of years, right? So starting in 1974, the Cowboys' own Drew Pearson. He had 3 first-team All-Pros in the 5 years, 1974 to 1978, making him, the de facto wide receiver 1, right? Like 3 out of 5 AP first teams. Give it to him. Then you have John Stallworth, okay? 79 to 84. And a lot of people, the Pittsburgh Steelers had Lynn Swann. You're like, Lynn Swann was the better receiver. When John Stallworth was healthy, he had 1,000 receiving yards in every single healthy season between 1979 and 1984. And 2 out of those, I think 2 out of the 5, he had 1,000 yards. He was an All-Pro for, and the other ones he made the Pro Bowl every time, or the Pro Bowl awards type situation. And then that gives us all the way up to 85. 85, Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice, like, I dare somebody to argue with me that Jerry Rice wasn't the best receiver in his time period. So
I don't think anybody's going to argue that.
Exactly. And that takes us all the way to 1997. 1997. So then after that, 98, Randy Moss enters the league. He's the de facto wide receiver 1 from 98 to 08. Right after that, 23 touchdown, Patriots undefeated season. That takes us to a little stopgap in this of 08 to 09, where Larry Fitzgerald was the best wide receiver. Calvin Johnson hadn't really come into Calvin Johnson yet. He had been banged up early in his career. He wasn't really healthy, so he wasn't quite Calvin yet. But then shortly thereafter, 2010 to 2014, Calvin Johnson, wide receiver 1, retires in 2015 when Julio Jones takes over as the wide receiver 1. You could say Antonio Brown, whoever you feel. I felt Julio Jones was the better receiver. If I was drafting the 2 of them in their prime, I'm taking Julio. That brings us to 2019, in which Tyreek Hill takes the crown, right? Tyreek Hill, the Chiefs, playing with Patrick Mahomes, like that's no-brainer. And then from 2021 to present day, I would say JJ is the best wide receiver in the league. The dude did not finish 8 games last season and still had over 1,000 receiving yards. Like, dude's fucking insane. So,
to get to your point, how many times were those players the
no
wide receiver in the NFL?
Nope. We're going. Okay. I lay all this out. I lay this whole track out in front of you to point out a trend. There is only one of these players that didn't play in a Super Bowl in his first 10 seasons in the NFL. Do you know who it was?
Randy?
I would shoot it. Yeah, I'd take a shot at Randy.
Nope. Randy played in the Super Bowl in 2007. He made it in 2007, which was his 10th season.
And possibly Jerry.
Nope. Jerry played in the Super Bowl his 2nd year in the NFL.
Calvin Johnson?
Calvin Johnson.
It had to be Calvin, because Julio played in the Super Bowl.
Yep. Julio played. Antonio Brown even played in the Super Bowl. Like, all those guys played in Super Bowls. Calvin Johnson is the only guy to not play in a Super Bowl, and he walked away from the game early. So who knows, right?
Detroit will do that to you, man.
Detroit does that to you. I'm just saying. Is JJ on track to play in a Super Bowl in the next, 6 to 7 years? Maybe. I'm not saying it's with the Vikings. I'm just saying
with JJ McCarthy at quarterback.
I'm not saying it's with the Vikings. I'm just saying.
This goes back to my point earlier. I think the only way that can happen is if it happens on JJ McCarthy's rookie deal.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless JJ takes a pay cut later in his career, or JJ doesn't sign for $60 million.
So there's an interesting stat out there. There's only been 2 head coaches to ever win a Super Bowl with a quarterback past the 5 years they've been together. So every quarterback and coach that won their first Super Bowl together, it was within their first 4 seasons. Sorry, I couldn't speak. First 4 seasons of being together. The only exceptions are Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, who were in their 5th year together, and then the Washington Redskins 80s coach, whose name escapes me, and I'll get to it later.
Gibbs?
I think it was Gibbs. I can't remember.
Bill
but those
Belichick would have had to done that too, wouldn't he?
No, Bill Belichick won one with Brady in their third season with the Patriots, 2nd season with Brady. It's their first Super Bowl win together.
Yep.
So it's it's now or never, right?
Hearing that stat, all that comes to mind is, hey, look out, Houston Texans.
Seriously.
Look out, Houston Texans.
It's always the up-and-coming team. But with that, I just wanted to lay that out in front of you, give you a little, little glimpse into the future with a fun little trend I noticed. Next up, though, we have who's getting paid next. You have CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Brandon Ayuk. If you guys had to put money on it, who's getting paid next? Riley, you go first.
It's hard for me to say because I think CD is sitting there saying I'm better than Jefferson. And I think Jamar Chase is at least saying I am as good as him. Now, what the other teams think are going to be a little bit different.
Now, hold on. You're thinking on the wrong track here, in my opinion, because CD has to compete with two other players to get paid. Jamar Chase has to compete with Joe Burrow to get paid. Brandon Ayuk just has to get traded to be paid. As soon as he gets traded, he's getting a new deal. I think Brandon Ayuk will be the next wide receiver to get paid. I don't think he'll break 35, but I think he will be the first of those three to get a new contract.
I don't
think the Niners let Ayuk go.
I think they do.
Even drafting Drew Pearson?
Not this season because I think it looks too much like they're giving up.
Okay. I think the 49ers think that they can get a lot more done without him.
You are entering like a mini rebuild almost.
By getting rid of Brandon Ayuk?
Yes. They're wide receiver 2. They're pure wide receiver 1.
You still have George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. You still have Christian McCaffrey.
The problem is that they're paying Juwan Jennings too much money.
Yeah, I agree completely.
The Niners. That's what's hurting them right now. And
huge.
Trying to re-sign Brandon Ayuk. That's what's hurting them the most.
But I think
he's making like $15 million a year right now. No, sorry, not that much, but still.
Yeah. I think that sets the precedent of we're not paying Ayuk. We're paying Jennings, right? They believe they can put anybody in that slot and they will succeed because of the other weapons there.
Well, I don't think, and I think we all agree on this, Deebo is more of a gadget guy than he is a pure number one, right?
Yeah. Deebo is a slower, more aggressive DK Metcalf.
So would you rather have a gadget guy or more of a wide receiver 1? I think
Deebo
trading Deebo is more likely than trading Ayuk.
I think Ayuk is a glorified wide receiver 1. He's a true wide receiver 2, but because he gets to play in an offense with 3 other all-pro level players, that he gets to succeed. If he doesn't have all-pro George Kittle, all-pro Christian McCaffrey, Pro Bowl Deebo Samuel, and a top 3 play caller in the NFL, you think he's still just as good? You think you stick him on the Panthers and he's going to pop off as wide receiver 1? No chance.
So you say that. What team is going to trade a high pick and then sign him to a record-breaking deal?
I don't think that they will trade a high pick. I think it'll be a second-round pick, a third-round pick maybe. And then they'll sign him to
I consider a second a high pick.
Okay. I thought you were talking like a top 15 pick.
No.
I could definitely see a team, give or take, like a New York Giants when they gave Kenny Golladay a huge contract, right? They paid Kenny Golladay at the time more money than any other receiver in the league was making. So you just have to find a team that needs that weapon.
But then in my mind, Brandon Ayuk is more valuable to the team this year than whatever third-round pick you're going to get back.
Not necessarily.
I think so.
I don't know about that. The cap space you gain by not signing him and the pick together.
But who are you going to sign this year that you're going to need that money from? I mean,
it'll be next year. It'll be next year.
That's a different story.
That's what I'm talking about, though. You trade him now so you don't have to sign him to an extension in which he's going to walk away anyways. You trade him, don't sign him to an extension.
You can still tag him.
Well, but then you got to pay him $29-30 million
for a year. I think if the Niners don't win a Super Bowl this year, they're retooling anyways.
I agree. So why not?
Next year. Don't do it this year if you're trying to win the Super Bowl.
I don't think Brandon Ayuk puts you over the edge. Losing Brandon Ayuk doesn't take you out of the Super Bowl conversation by any means, and you can gain draft capital and money in the following years. No brainer for me. Get rid of him.
But for me, then it becomes a Brock Purdy issue. I would rather Purdy have too many weapons than miss out on one. Does that make sense?
I just don't. I don't see Brandon Ayuk as a weapon. I see him.
He's got enough weapons.
I see Brandon Ayuk as a guy who is benefiting because of the players and scheme around him, not because he's that good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see him as kind of the Brock Purdy of wide receivers. It's, people put him in this upper echelon. I do think Ayuk's a baller. Like, he's a T. Higgins level receiver. Like, I would probably put T. Higgins just a little bit above him, but he's that caliber receiver.
But to answer your question, we just went through all of this. I think more than likely it will be Jamar Chase, because I think they'll put him at that 35 number.
Yeah.
Or even a $500,000 below it. And
all right, Spoon, Dalt, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Let's keep it a little.
I
me
think
and Riley kind of got sidetracked. Sorry.
I think putting T. Higgins above Brandon Ayuk is a little bit of a reach. I still think Brandon Ayuk has that huge. He's only 21, dude.
Yeah,
and he's been balling out. Like he has so much. Yeah, he's only 21.
He's only 21.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk is only 21. Look it up, dude. Look it up.
That's not physically possible.
He's only 21 years old. Sorry, he's like 22, 23.
I was like, he would have had to have come out of college at 18. Like, that's not possible.
You're right.
I was like,
I was looking at something at signing. That's my fault.
Cool.
He's
No problem.
still 23 years old. Like, he has so much potential to still grow and be an elite receiver. Like, I still don't understand why they're paying Juwan Jennings $7 million. Like, cut his ass. Get rid of him. Save that money. Sign Brandon Ayuk. Like, I don't know. That's where I'm at with the whole. I think he should be making more than T. Higgins. Definitely.
I don't know.
I
don't know. All right, Dalt, you got anything to add to that? You're muted, Dalt.
Yep, you got to unmute yourself.
I don't think that. I think CD is going to be the last to get paid. Yeah.
On the Cowboys or of all the names mentioned?
Of all the names mentioned, I feel like if I know we're not talking about.
We got a little bit of mic interference there. You good?
Can you hear me?
Yep, hear you loud and clear now.
Yeah, I just think that, like, I agree with what you were saying, Brenner, about Brandon Ayuk not being, that guy. Definitely doesn't deserve that kind of money. So the fact that he's, like, really hanging out. If I were him, I wouldn't take a pay cut, but I would definitely want to stay on the 49ers if I'm Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, I think CD is going to be the last to get paid of the receivers, and as far as who gets paid, Dak, Micah, or CD, I have no idea.
Hold on.
Can we just get to it already? Can we just
no.
I do have a question for you, Brenner.
What's up?
Now you've got me thinking about Ayuk. If he signed for 25, is that too much?
I'd be okay. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with 25.
I think that would put him top 7. Because Amon-Ra just broke the record. At 30.
I want to give a shout out. I was way off on Ayuk's age. He just turned 26.
Okay, I was thinking that was super low, but I was
off. I
thought you were looking at it. I was
way off.
Okay.
I was looking at it. I was way off from what I read. But dude, the dude's had 2,000 yard seasons in the last 2 years, and he's
25 would put him top 8. 25 million would put him top 8, and that puts him even with Devonta Smith below guys like Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, St. Brown, AJ Brown, and JJ. I would say
is that a number you're comfortable with?
I would say 22 mil is perfect for him.
Yeah, I'd probably say that. He's more of a DK to me, like DK level player, and DK's making 24, and I feel like that's a bit high. So, it is what it is. These guys are going to get more than they're worth.
So
you know what I mean?
I mean, if you think that's if you think that's a little high for DK, do you think 35 mil is honestly too high for Justin Jefferson?
No. You pay the
You think that's
best player. There's like 3 to 4 players at every position that like you pay them whatever they want. They will make JJ turned Nick Mullins into a 400-yard passer.
Yeah.
Against the Detroit Lions, who went to the NFC Championship game. Like this is
I'm
JJ
just asking because like I know that you're comparing what he's getting to other receivers, and it's like, okay, are all the receivers getting paid a little bit too much, or is it just right where they need to be paid?
No, I think the proof is in the trend that the top end wide receivers play in Super Bowls. Every top end wide receiver but one plays in the Super Bowl in the first 10 seasons they're in the NFL. That proves that top end receivers help get teams to Super Bowls.
After this, I was gonna say after this contract, if this contract is over, like let's get to the end of this contract. He's still balling out like he is, but he doesn't get to a Super Bowl. Is that where you're done?
2030 rolls around and we haven't made a Super Bowl.
Done.
No matter what the stats are or what kind of
no matter if he's
I'm
going
not saying it's a
1,500.
disappointment. I'm saying the Super Bowl like
he's going for 1,500 yards at least every single season.
I mean, I'll be so stoked. I'll be so happy.
But you'll be done. If he doesn't get us to a Super Bowl.
Be done.
Okay. Or you to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on from that, unless anybody's got any final remarks. We're going to move on to the newest Hard Knocks team, the Chicago Bears. Riley, how do you feel about the Bears being on Hard Knocks?
I love it. I know everything I have heard is that the Bears did not want to be a part of it. They tried making deals to get out of it.
Yeah.
I want to say a couple of years ago, we played in the Hall of Fame game. They used that as the bargaining chip to get out of Hard Knocks that year.
Yeah.
But I think with all the moves and all the hype surrounding Chicago, the NFL basically said, "Look, you don't have a choice."
You kind of cut out there at the end, but I think you said that you were the hype. I kind of cut out there.
The hype surrounding it, the NFL really didn't give the Bears a choice. They're like, "Look, we're going to capitalize on this." But
yeah,
I also like how Hard Knocks is doing it, where they're covering a team for the draft. Obviously, they're covering the Bears for.
They're doing the Giants off season. They're doing the Bears for the preseason. They're doing. Yep, and then they're going to do a divisional Hard Knocks in season. A whole division will be covered, and that has yet to be announced.
Yes,
but the Bears.
I think that'll be great for Hard Knocks. Almost
absolutely.
AFC North would be awesome if they would take that division.
Yeah,
season. I would love to see the
AFC South would also be really good. So,
but you know that there is a Hard Knocks curse, though, right?
So hold on, hold the train, hold the train up.
Okay,
I'm getting there. Let me get there. You guys are jumping ahead of me at every point. Like, just let me get there. Jesus, guys. So the Bears were an obvious choice, right? Top 5 wide receiving core. Caleb Williams, top 12 points defense last year. Up and coming team, no question they were a good choice for Hard Knocks. But can they break the Hard Knocks curse?
So hold on, this is a counter I have to that.
Hold on. Let me explain the curse first. Let me explain the curse, and then you can counter. Okay, no team has ever been on Hard Knocks the same year as having a top 5 pick and made the playoffs. It's never happened in the history of Hard Knocks. Every single time the team has not made the playoffs. That is the 2016 Rams, who drafted Jared Goff first overall. They went 4-12. The 2018 Browns, Baker Mayfield, 7-8-1. The 2019 Raiders, 7-9, drafted Clelin Ferrell in the top 5. I think he was pick number 4. And then there are 3 teams that have had a top 6 pick, so the 6th overall pick, and only one of those made it. That was the 2014 Atlanta Falcons, 6-10, drafted Jake Matthews. 2020 Los Angeles Chargers missed the playoffs, drafted Justin Herbert, went 7-9. And the only team that has ever had a top 6 pick and made the playoffs the same season while being on Hard Knocks is the 2009 Cincinnati Bengals. They drafted left tackle Andre Smith and went 11-5. Now, that is, can they break that curse? Riley, your counter.
So this is where I'm at. All the teams that have done Hard Knocks, two teams finished worse than the season before Hard Knocks. two had the same record. Everyone else improved their team record after being on Hard Knocks compared to the year before. Now, the Bears were a 7-win team. I think if you add more, it is statistically more likely than not you're a better team the next year after being on Hard Knocks, whether you make the playoffs or not.
I mean, statistically speaking, the other two teams that drafted a quarterback first overall and were on Hard Knocks, one had 4 wins, one had 7 wins. I would bet those are two of the teams that either had a worse record or an even record with the year before. So I would say statistically, you're at 100% of either even or lesser among teams that drafted first overall and had Hard Knocks.
But this is where I go back to the fact that the Bears didn't lose to get the number 1 pick.
No, they didn't. They did.
They were not a good team.
They were a bottom 10 team. They were a bottom 10 team.
They were a good team. They made a lot of additions over the offseason.
Absolutely.
I think the Bears are a very special scenario. I don't think we've ever.
You think they're the exception, not the rule?
Yes, and I don't think we can hold past expectations on them because we've never seen a team quite like this.
I mean, I certainly haven't. You guys got any adult Spoon? You have anything to add to that?
I just want to point out that there is an injury curse as well.
There's a Hard Knocks injury curse.
There's a little bit of an injury curse. So in 2008, the Dallas Cowboys were on it, and they went 13-3, lost in the divisional round in the previous season. And they did the Hard Knocks season. That was the year Tony Romo got hurt. And then you also, I know there's another one. I don't have time to look it up. But then you also take into account last season. The Jets were on Hard Knocks. Aaron Rodgers got injured week 1. There is an injury curse that goes along with this. So there's a lot of curses so far that are just telling me the Bears are if they should have stayed away from Hard Knocks the best they could.
They did. They tried.
I don't think they could. I think the NFL said you're doing this, and you can't get out of it.
Yeah,
unfortunate.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we're gonna move on from that unless anybody has anything they want to add. But I just want to give a quick shout out. Christian McCaffrey breaks the bank, $19 million a year for a running back, resetting the running back market. I don't have any cool stats on that or anything like that. Just good for CMC, going and getting his. I think that's another move signifying that we're not paying Ayuk. We're paying the stars of the team. Gable Stevenson, former Olympic gold medalist wrestler, signs with the Buffalo Bills as kind of a tryout type situation. I don't know.
What position are they having him?
I haven't read yet. I just saw he signed with him. He hasn't. I don't think they have a fit. I would assume D tackle. He's a bigger.
Is he?
Those
wrestlers are a different breed.
He's kind of like a John Randall, Brock Lesnar type player. So I would assume D tackle.
Does Christian McCaffrey deserve it or not?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Anybody going to disagree with that?
Second best offensive skill position player in the entire NFL, possibly the first best skill position player in the NFL.
I don't think he's setting. I don't think he's setting the running back market. I just think that he's just been so far and above everybody else in the running back position that it's hey, you got to pay this guy.
Nobody else has a right to talk I'm better than McCaffrey as a running back. So
not a single person.
No.
Nope.
I don't think. I do want to make a quick amends. We messed something up last week on the podcast. We said that Mark Davis was having a baby. Who we thought was girlfriend is not his actual girlfriend, and the baby is not his, and they are not dating, but she is pregnant. So that was irresponsible of me to say. So I apologize.
In your defense, all of this came out after the podcast. She released the statement clarifying it. But
either way,
we reported what we knew.
Either way. And last but not least, before we get on to the main event of the evening that I know Dalton is chomping at the bit to talk about, me and Riley will be doing a roster breakdown at some point throughout the offseason between the Bears and Texans rosters, because Riley told us last week that the Bears have a better roster than the Texans do. So we will still be doing that. We haven't forgotten about it, but we are not doing it this week as we already had a jam-packed full episode for everybody. Alrighty, Dalton. Let's get down to this. All right.
Finally.
I will
go.
give you all my notes on the situation, and then we will talk. Okay.
Okay.
Big contract trouble in the Big D. Okay. CD, Micah, and Dak are all due new deals within the next 2 years,
And
all at the
all
same time.
of their markets
Hold
have
on.
been reset.
Hold on. All of their markets have been reset, and they will want to reset their markets again. With
Who
their
deserves it? Who deserves it?
Hold on.
Not Dak.
Hold on.
No, I
Hold
don't
on.
think- no.
Hold on.
Hold on.
I'm not done with saying everything you need to know. Okay? You need to have more information before you jump in.
Keep
Okay?
going.
We're almost there. Okay. So all three of them need to get paid. Dak is going to make $50 to $55 million average annual value AAV. CD is going to make 35-ish AAV, and Micah is going to make 35-ish AAV. Right? They're all going to be around that JJ highest player that's not a quarterback number. And then
Yeah.
Dak is also going to be in the 50s. You know, I think the top 5 quarterbacks are already in the 50s. So it's going to be at least 50. So if you take those, and I did 52.5 million plus 35 plus 35, that's $122.5 million. Okay, so to pay all three of these guys the money they want, it would require 47% of the team's entire cap for the projected 2025 cap of $260 million. So it would take half of your total cap space to pay 3 players. Who stays? Who goes? Dalton, the floor is yours.
I mean, they all stay. And I think that is where. So I watched a lot of the quote from Jerry Jones when he says we're all in. Right, that was a big thing for everybody this offseason. Just hear me out. So
I'm hearing you out. Don't worry.
What he said was we're all in, but what he said after that was we're all in with these rookies, right? So I think what he's doing with, instead of going into the offseason and making all these trades and trying to get any more vets like Stephon Gilmore, another Brandon Cooks, they're all in on the roster that they already have, the guys who haven't had a lot of time, the Mozzie Smiths, Sam Williams. And I think that Jerry Jones is going to put most of his money in the 3 guys that he knows are the best players on the Cowboys: Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. Those are the 3 best players on that team in their respective positions. And I don't think anybody could argue with that. Spoon, thoughts?
I'm going to let you guys keep going. I'm doing some math in my head real quick.
Can I go on this? I've got a little bit. So you guys are about to hate this take, but hear me out on it first. I think it is in the Cowboys' best interest to have a bad year. And hear me out.
To have a bad what?
I'm fine with that.
A bad year.
Okay.
So next year rolls around. Say you guys are a 500 team, right? Now the fan base isn't as picky about not paying back, letting him walk. The Cowboys go to the negotiation table with CeeDee. Look, you had 1 year as that guy, but the rest of what would be next season, you didn't have 1,500 yards and double-digit touchdowns. So you're not a Justin Jefferson level guy. So they pay him a little. Micah, I think, is on the edge. I think if he has one more bad season, he's not getting the $35 million a year. So I think it is in Dallas's best interest to have a bad year, let Dak walk, sign CD and Micah to something a little cheaper. Now, you have to count on them having a bad statistical season to match the bad team record. But I think that is the best case scenario for the Cowboys.
So I'm looking at the contract scenario. We're paying Brandon Cooks almost $20 million a year, but his contract's up next season. So there's $20 million that we save right there. We got Zach Martin coming up. His contract ends this year too. That's another $18 million.
We just paid him last year, though.
No, I don't. Are you sure we did? Because I'm
was
showing
like the
right now that
beginning of last. last year or the
But it was-
year before.
I think it was a 2-year deal though.
Okay, yeah, it was last year because he was holding
So
out for
after this
camp.
season, it ends, and that's another 18 mil. There's more money we save because Zach Martin's coming to the end of his career. He's already 33 years old. I'm just saying we can save this money. We pay CD. I don't think Micah's going to go for that much. Micah just had an awful year. Well, not awful, but it wasn't a great year.
Yeah.
We could probably
Way
get away
down
with
year.
we could probably and I think personally we could probably get away with paying CD 33 mil. We could probably get away with paying Micah like maybe 28, 30 mil. And if we can't afford Dak, oh well. So be it. Let him walk.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Now, Brenner,
Now,
you
Brenner,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
your head over there after you.
He's
just
gonna say no.
paid
They're
your
gonna
wide receiver
they're gonna have to
35
let
million.
they're gonna have to let all these guys go. They can't afford to pay anybody, right?
All right. Here's what I'm going to lead with, okay? You will be a poverty level franchise if you pay all three of these guys, because you did point out that you're saving space on other guys not being there anymore, and the Zach Martins, the Brandon Cooks, those guys leaving. Those guys are leaving as key contributors to a good team. You have to replace them. You have to replace them to stay at your current level. There has only been one quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl at a higher cap hit percentage than 13%, and that's Patrick fucking Mahomes. Okay? 13% to one player. 13. You're averaging over 16% to three different dudes. Okay, like there's zero chance you have any sustained success if you're paying all three of these guys. That's my
You
first
better
point.
hit on every draft
Every-
pick from
you
the
have to
first
hit on
round to the seventh.
And you're going to need 10 picks a year, and you're going to hit every single one of them. So, which won't happen. It doesn't happen in the NFL like that. It's
Brandon
not,
Cooks can walk.
that,
let him walk.
yeah, he can, but you have to replace him. Is the
And
issue
that'll be fine. I'm sure we can find another fucking wide receiver too that can put
that
up
just
800
rattles
yards.
off? That just rattles off 800 to 1,000 yards a
Absolutely.
season?
won't be that
Absolutely
hard.
not.
Yeah,
It's-
with
Well,
Dak,
hold
with
on.
Dak throwing
Dar-
the ball like that, yes.
What's
It's not
that?
gonna
I was
be
gonna say, I mean,
Darnell
Brandon
Mooney?
Cooks came in and did it in his first year, so
Brandon Cooks also has had 1,000 yards at every single stop he's ever had. Brandon Cooks is a super underrated player and has been very successful and has been a very good Pro Bowl level wide receiver for the majority of his career.
And we could get the same output paying half his contract.
But you can't
I don't think
just
you
go
can.
get that. You have to
Dar-
have, then you're spending a first round pick on that. You're spending a first round pick more
Well,
than likely.
hold on.
Let's draft a wide receiver next year.
Okay,
I'm
now
fine
go
with
get your guard that gives you the same
We already drafted a guard this year.
that gives you the same payout.
We already drafted a
Martin.
guard this year, so
But
I'm
I'm-
fine with it.
But what I'm saying is that gives you the same payout as Martin. You don't know that this guard's going to be a hit.
You probably will.
That-
Most
that's-
guards and
that's what
tackles
I'm
in the
saying.
first rounds are hit.
Okay, my second point is you said if Micah Parsons has another down year, the dude had 64 tackles and 14 sacks and was third in Defensive Player of the Year voting.
he had a good year last year.
AP
He didn't have a
second team
phenomenal
All
year.
Pro and a Pro Bowl. Like if that's
He-
his down year, then this dude should be making $45 million a year.
Now,
I think
Like-
he
hold on,
plateaued.
hold
I
on.
definitely think he plateaued compared to the year before.
14 sacks is good, but it's not like ground champ.
That is,
The NFL
Premier
record
pass
is
rusher.
23.
yeah, but year to year it averages.
That's also
somewhere-
debatable, though.
Hold on, year to year average, the leader in sacks is somewhere between 14 to 18. Like that is top end level production for a DN.
But what
That
did
is-
he do in the playoffs as well? Didn't he have a bad playoff game too?
Let me see.
And this is more of a
Um,
question than a statement. I've just heard.
Yeah,
Skip
no,
Bayless
he
say
only
that
had
on first
he had
take.
one quarterback hit,
He
two
also
total tackles.
got one holding
one game.
call in like 16 games. Like people like getting called a penalty on somebody holding him. That I'm pretty sure it's close to like something crazy. He didn't have a
Well-
holding call called against him or called against like was guarding him in like 15 or 16 games.
All right, so we'll pause on that. I would like to make my third point is that you have Dak Prescott, who's making $50+ million wherever he goes. Whatever team he signs with, it's going to be $50 million. Okay? If Dak Prescott goes out and has a good year this year, the Cowboys will re-sign him. Like, they will re-sign him. and they will let CeeDee Lamb walk because they will have to, for you to re-sign your quarterback, you have to have at that price tag, you have to have enough faith in your quarterback that they can turn any receiver into
what team do you see
Hold on,
paying Dak $50
quietly. I sat here quietly
Giants.
and listened to all of you. Okay?
Keep
Any
going.
team that signs Dak will sign him at $50 million minimum AAV. Okay? If you're going to pay a quarterback that much money, you believe that he can turn any other wide receiver into a high-level threat. Maybe not CeeDee Lamb level threat, but a 1,000-yard, an 1,100, a 1,200-yard receiver. And then you're going to pay Micah Parsons because the two most important positions on the football field are the guy throwing the ball and the guy chasing the guy throwing the ball. So you're paying those two. You're letting CeeDee Lamb walk unless Dak walks. If Dak gets let go, then CeeDee coming back becomes a must because then you need an offensive star to carry the load. And that CeeDee could do because I believe he's a top 4, top 3 receiver in the NFL.
So you'd rather have Dak than you would have CeeDee Lamb?
Personally, me, I would rather have CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons and draft a rookie quarterback. Personally.
Well, that's what I said.
Which is what the Vikings did something very similar this season, except we let our pass rusher walk too, but we went and got a rookie in Dallas Turner and a rookie in J.J. McCarthy. And if we hit on both of them, that's huge for the franchise for the next 10 years. Now, if you hit on both. Statistically speaking, one of them's a bust.
I think we know which one.
Yeah,
I think we
Williams.
all know.
I just think that this could have been avoided, and Jerry Jones should have paid all 3 of these guys much earlier, and he would have saved himself a lot of money.
Micah Parsons is in his 3rd year, so he has 2 years left of team control. You're not going to pay him in his 2nd season. CeeDee Lamb is just coming up on his, and Dak Prescott has been paid before.
But think, if they had done it even at the end of last season...
That's what I'm saying.
But CeeDee wouldn't have signed at the end of last season because JJ hadn't signed yet. CeeDee was not going to sign before JJ. JJ was this close to
You don't think if the Cowboys offered him $30 a year, at that time that would have been the highest...
Last year? At the end of last year?
Yeah.
But the Vikings weren't even
signed yet.
But the Vikings weren't even offering JJ $30 a year at that point. It has been reported now since JJ signed his deal that JJ was being offered $28 a year right before the season started last year. And JJ said, I'm going to bet on myself. We can talk after the season. I still want to be here in Minnesota, but I think I can earn more after this year. And JJ, who was hurt for half the season, still had a crazy impressive season for being hurt half the year. So...
I'm saying at the end of this last season, before Amon-Ra signed his deal and became...
Yes, we are talking about the same period of time. The Cowboys, under no circumstances, would have offered CeeDee Lamb $30 million a year. The Vikings were only offering Justin Jefferson.
If they offered him $30 million a year, I think.
Yes, I think he would have taken it, but they wouldn't have done that. Nobody would have done that.
They did it to Amon-Ra
after the season started.
No. That was the offseason, wasn't it?
Yeah, the end.
That was this offseason. That was like a couple weeks ago.
About.
I'm saying before Amon-Ra signed his...
at this offseason, if they went to CeeDee Lamb and said $30 million, CeeDee Lamb would have been like, fuck you.
What? He's gonna get what, $2 million more over the course of 5 years? That's
extra $10 million. Look at me in the eyes. Look at me in the eyes right now. I could give you an extra $10 million right now. Are you gonna be like, nah, I don't need that?
It's not $10 million.
Oh, $2 million over 5 years, right? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
No.
$10 million
total. Two divided.
He's not
by
getting
5.
$2 total $1 million. He's getting an AAV of 2 more per year. Yeah. He's instead of making 32, he's going to make 34 at that point, and so he's going to get $10 million more over the course of the deal.
Would you rather be the highest paid wide receiver or the 4th highest paid wide receiver?
These guys' egos are massive. They would much rather be the highest paid wide receiver.
Exactly. So he should have signed for 30 while he could have been the highest paid. He's not going to be the highest paid wide receiver now.
But his agent was telling him, listen, Justin Jefferson is going to break the bank and make $33, $34, $35 million. We do not sign until he signs, because then if we'll get 33 now, We'll get 34, 35, maybe even 36 if we can pressure the Cowboys after he signs. We will make more money after he signs, guaranteed. And I think they will. He would have made 30 to 32 before, and now he will make minimum 33, probably 34, because that's what I think A.J. Brown, hold on, I'll tell you, I'll go to over the cap real quick. A.J. Brown, I'm pretty sure, is making $34 million per year. No, A.J. Brown's making 32 a year. Yeah, St. Brown's making 30, A.J. Brown's making 32. So yeah, CeeDee Lamb is going to make somewhere between 33 and $35 million.
Okay. I didn't realize AJ had signed for that. I guess that was after the season too.
I mean, to be fair, Tyreek is only at 30, so the Cowboys could easily say, listen, you're not as good as Tyreek Hill. We're not paying you more than Tyreek Hill. And that's what leads to CD walking.
I think he gets
lots
tagged
of variables
before he walks.
I don't think they would tag him. I don't think he would play under the tag, I should say. I don't think he would play under the tag. I don't think anybody will play under the tag nowadays. I think the egos are way too big. And it's dumb.
Well, CD's too good of a player to tag. I mean, like, he's not like,
he's
a Tony Pollard, because they tag Pollard and he's like, oh, well, you know.
Well, the tag is designed to give you more time to work on a deal. That's what the tag is designed to do. So they would have to pay him. It would be the average of the top 5 at your position. So that's 28, 30, 30, 32, and 35. So they probably pay him $32-ish million that season. And he would make his money, and then they would have time to work on a new deal. So it's actually a prime candidate to be tagged. But then you have to pay Dak, and then you have to pay Micah. So you're still in the same position. You can't pay all 3 of those guys. You can't do it and build a serviceable roster that will win you football games.
Would you rather tag CD or Micah?
Am I keeping Dak?
I'll leave that up to you, whether you want to keep him or not.
If I'm keeping Dak, CD walks. I'm keeping Micah no matter what, and I'm only keeping one of the offensive guys. You got to have balance on your football team. You can't just pay both the offensive guys and leave your defense to chance.
Agreed.
So that's what I say. Pay the 2 most important positions. That's quarterback and D end. Okay, you have a generational talent at D end, and you have a top 15 talent at quarterback. You pay those 2 guys.
You have a top 5 wide receiver and pay him.
I
think you let Dak walk.
I would also let Dak walk, Spoon. And I said that a minute ago.
Yeah,
I just think the bridges have burned.
You offer Dak, like, I don't know, maybe like 30 mil, 35 mil a year. See if he takes it. If he doesn't,
he won't take that.
He won't take it. I know he doesn't.
$35 million a year, Spoon. I don't think you know how low that is.
I understand. I get that. No, I do get that.
$35 million a year would be in the neighborhood of, hold on here,
Aaron Rodgers and Baker Mayfield. He'd be right in between. He'd be right in between Aaron Rodgers and Baker Mayfield. Aaron Rodgers makes 37 mil. Baker makes 33 mil. 33 a year.
I'm looking right here. Yep. I mean,
but the fact that
you're telling Dak,
yes,
we think you make less than Derek Carr, Matt Stafford,
Daniel
Jones. You're gonna make less than you did last year. We're gonna give you a pay cut, and that you make less than Kyler Murray, Jared Goff.
And if he doesn't want it, let him walk. We can't pay all those 3 guys that much money. You can't do it.
Dak is not gonna go anywhere and have the success he's gonna have in Dallas.
Back to my original question? What team is going to pay Dak that much money? Give me one.
The Giants. I think the Giants are
with Daniel Jones coming up.
Let him go.
They'll send him. The Jets will need a quarterback about that time. They would pay him. The Saints would need a quarterback about that time. They'd pay him.
He's not going to do anything there.
Yeah, he's not going to have this.
He's not going to have any success there.
Not the Colts. I mean, teams look a lot different.
He's got to be looking at what success he's going to have at these places, and he's not going to have that much success as he's had in Dallas.
But look at the. You would have said the same thing 2 seasons ago about the Texans. Like, if Dak went there, he won't have near the success. And it turns out now, like, look how different the Texans roster is now, right? We don't know what these teams are going to look like in 1 to 2
They're
years.
also not paying their quarterback $50 million a year. They have their quarterback on a rookie contract.
I know, but we don't know what these rosters look like in next season,
Because
the following off season.
I get that.
or when-
But back to your Texas thing is if Dak was in Houston, they wouldn't have been able to sign Stephon Diggs. They wouldn't have been able to sign anyone.
no,
Dak.
So they wouldn't have
cannot
this
go
roster.
to Dak cannot go to the AFC. He has got to stay in the NFC. Well, he's not even. He might not even be a top 7 quarterback in the AFC. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFC.
He's also coming. He's on the backside of his career too, so he needs to be thinking about that and be like, hey, you know what? If I walk, I'm not going to get that much money.
I mean, he's got 10 years left. He's got
No.
a decade of football left.
We
He's
can't
30. He's
What?
30.
Okay,
how many-
I thought he was
He
28.
is third. No, he's
I thought he
third.
was 28. Okay, so he's
I
got
think he's got,
5
like,
to
maybe
7
6
years left.
I was going to say 6-7 years left, probably.
Yeah, 5 to 7 years left of quality football play.
Wait, say that one more time. How old is he?
30.
30.
Just turned 30 last
Oh,
year.
I thought he was like 33. I was like,
I thought he was only
got-
28. I thought he was younger than he is. So
Mm. But I don't think we see him play until he's 40.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think so. I think 35 to 37 is probably an age where it drops off for him, and
Yeah.
that's similar to a Matt Ryan, a Phillip Rivers, somewhat in that stratosphere.
He'll end up on Indy.
Yeah. Hopefully not. Hopefully,
Richardson.
Anthony Richardson pans out. I like that guy. He's good. I like watching him play ball. But with that, make sure to take a moment, like, comment, subscribe. I have some news for the boys that they're not aware of yet.
Oh.
When we get to 500 subscribers, now that's a long ways away, but we're gonna start making it a thing. When we get to 500 subscribers, we will do a random drawing and buy one subscriber an autographed jersey of their choice. So just one subscriber
I like it.
for every 500. We'll do it at every 500 we get until we get to 1,000. So twice.
We're going to do it twice.
We'll do it
Um,
every 500 until 1,000.
1,000.
So we will be doing that. Now we're a long ways away. So if you want that jersey, just have a
What
chance.
jersey is it?
Whatever
Like,
they
is
want. Whatever that person wants. That person wants
What?
a signed Baker Mayfield jersey. If that person wants a
Ooh,
signed,
I would love that. Can I have that?
if somebody wants a signed Lynn Swan jersey, if somebody wants a signed fucking Babe Ruth jersey, we'll get it for them. Who cares? Whatever
What a
jersey you
waste.
want and it's signed, we'll get it for you. Just gotta subscribe. Just gotta get the subscribers there.
Make
We're
a
willing
bunch
to-
of spam
We're willing to
accounts
bribe
just
you.
to
We're willing to
subscribe.
bribe you guys.
Yeah.
We'll do whatever it takes. All right, boys. We are going to come out with our week 4 schedule prediction later on this week. Other than that, unless anybody's got anything else they want to add, that's all I got.
See you
Nope.
guys.
Peace.